Okay, so I'm Kayla Reagan, and I'm going to be talking about why sophomores should be required to live on campus. So, as a sophomore at the University of South Carolina, I found it extremely frustrating that our campus housing does not typically house students after freshman year. Most sophomores, juniors, and seniors live in apartment complexes or off-campus housing. A big reason for this is the limited availability in our campus dorms. Although on websites, University of South Carolina will state sophomore housing is available to them, this requires usually being put on a wait list. Some sophomores have the privilege of living on campus because of reasons such as they're international students, they live in Greek Village, or because they hold a role such as the president. Little to no sophomores do live on campus. I believe the reason for this is the availability of dorms. There are too many freshmen being accepted each year, and there's not enough dorms to ensure that they can live here, as well as upperclassmen who would like the opportunity to live there as well. For example, my freshman year, they had to stick bunk beds in East and South Quad just to be able to house all of the freshmen at the university. This would provide almost no room for sophomores that are on the waiting list to live in campus dorms. The University Housing Office, as well as the admissions office, is who I'm presenting this issue to, and they are the change agents as well. They should be taking into consideration how many students they are accepting and how many dorms are available, leaving more than enough dorms available for other grades besides freshmen. As a result, most sophomores live off campus, which I've seen many issues with, issues that would be resolved if they could live on campus. The transition from on to off campus is extremely inconvenient. Most college students don't have cars, so they're walking up to 30 minutes to classes, sometimes a few times a day. And this is very inconvenient and even dangerous for a 19-year-old to be walking alone through the city as dangerous as Columbia. According to the article, 5 Reasons to Live on Campus as an Upperclassman by Emmy King, living on campus is convenient and affordable. It is way harder to get to classes off campus, and you end up spending way more money. As well as these reasons, the article Living on Campus by UCLA Housing says that studies show that students who live on campus perform better academically and are happier with their college experience. Another difficult thing about living off campus is you're so far from the meal plan that you're paying for. It would be difficult to walk 20 to 30 minutes anytime you want breakfast, lunch, or dinner. As a result, most students who live off campus end up going grocery shopping and spending a lot more money that they need, or they are eating out a few times a week, which is extremely expensive. Besides the inconvenience issues, living in the city of Columbia is extremely dangerous. There's been so much crime reported near and in these off-campus housing sites, and it is concerning that the university hasn't taken much action about considering that there are so many students that live off campus. According to the Daily Gamecock, there are shootings, car hijackings, and vandalism. And these events happen way too often, and I've seen these events happen in off-campus housing. A direct quote from the Daily Gamecock states, Kate Stinson, a fourth-year business student and a third-year resident of Red Point, Columbia, said that after the shooting at Red Point Pool in June, management brushed the situation under the rug by promoting new updates to housing, as well as remodeling the pool and other amenities. Stinson said this isn't the first time Red Point has made a false promise to residents about new safety changes after its recent rebranding. Stinson said one of Red Point's biggest selling points was that an alarm system would be installed in each resident's apartment. However, in 3 years, Stinson has been living at Red Point. She has not received the alarm system code or any information about it from management. This is upsetting because Red Point is another off-campus housing option. There's a lot of crime that happens at apartments similar to Red Point, such as the Hub, Empire, the Nine, and more. As well as crime, there's a very high homeless population in the city of Columbia, according to an article by Post Inquirer. The homeless will break into apartments or housing. This is extremely unsafe, especially for college students who are not adults yet and don't know how to handle the situation. These off-campus housing options are the only options for so many students. Unfortunately, so many students have to live under these circumstances. They are far away from the food they are paying for on the meal plan. It's dangerous, and there are so many disadvantages academically. This needs to change. The University Housing Office and the University Admissions team needs to work together to find a solution to this issue that has been ignored for so long. Does anyone have any questions?
I have a question. So if you were to get like colleges to like extend housing to sophomores like it was made possible, do you think like transportation should be affected as well, like the uses of like buses and like bike storage and all that?
If they live on campus?
Yeah.
Well, I feel like if they lived on campus, they wouldn't really need a bus. You know what I mean?
Right, but considering like the size of USC, I mean,
Okay, yeah, then
and
I
how
would
it,
say like we already have like buses that are available. I would say just to add more, maybe if
Mhm.
possible for transportation, but I feel like it's not that difficult to walk place to place
Yeah.
on campus. So either way, it would work.
Do you live off campus? And if so, do you think it's affected your attendance from last year compared to this year?
Yeah, I do live off campus and I definitely think it's affected my attendance. Not that I'm like not going to classes, but I feel like I mean, I'm walking about 30 minutes, so it's hard to get to class on time just because you don't know when there's going to be a stoplight and it just affects the time's different every single time. Do you think?
So, okay, thank you. So are you saying that they should require like sophomores to live on campus? Like, would you say that schools should require them to live on campus, or are you just saying to like make it more available for sophomores?
I think it should be required for sophomores to live on campus, but obviously that wouldn't be available anytime soon just because there's not enough dorms. So maybe easing into it, it would be more encouraged, but eventually required, yeah.
Do you think the best way to do this would be to admit less students in like future years to have enough room?
Yeah, I think that's like the only way that it would be able to happen. I think we've all seen there's been so many more students like each year, so maybe admitting less would help.
That was kind of my question. They just built Campus Village this year. Do you think that was beneficial or it was just a way for them to admit more students?
I definitely think it was just a way for them to admit more students.
Do you hope in the future they build more dorms? And if so, like where? Because like we are in the city, so it's not like we just have like a lot of land to build on.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I hope they build more dorms. I'm not really sure what land's available, but I'm not sure where, but I hope that they would build more dorms. Yeah.
So I actually had a student that did a presentation on how freshmen that live within 20 minutes of campus should not be required to live on campus. Do you think if they made it so that if you did live, I mean, like she said her parents lived 15 minutes from campus. I would be so annoyed if I had to pay
Yeah.
for some dorm and my parents lived 15 minutes away. She said she could walk to her parents' house faster than she could walk to some of her classes. So, do you think like her policy of if your parents live with the, or if your home is within a certain distance as a freshman, you don't have to live on campus?
I mean, I'm sure she's probably the only student with that. But I mean, yeah, I'm sure if you submitted an appeal to the university and said my parents live closer, because there's so many dorms that are really far away, like such as Park Place. I know that's so far from campus, but I would say that she could just submit an appeal and that should be fine if it's closer to campus. Yeah.
All right. Are there any other questions? Okay, I think you're good to stop your recording.